think like what people like really dismiss about you is like you've become this one of the best media slash podcast, TV, however you want to say everything, the personality, not just sports. In general, I saw a podcast that was asking about relationship advice and talk about like
Right.
I feel, but how? Like, what's your upbringing? How did you get to this point?
Well, I saw the forest from the trees. I remember when I was covering the NBA for the Philadelphia Inquirer, I was covering Allen Iverson every day for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Ooh, I want to hear like stories about
And
him.
oh my Lord, this dude was a beat. I was the beat writer for the 76ers. This dude was a beat in and unto himself. I used to get so mad with Allen Iverson because every time he got into trouble, anytime he got into some kind of issue, it was always when I was on vacation. Never failed. It was never when I was there. It was always when I was on vacation. So I had to come off vacation to cover these damn stories involving him. I used to get pissed off at him just because of that alone. But I love him to death. I love him like a brother. But the thing about it is that 2001, the Philadelphia 76ers are going to the NBA Finals. Mm-hmm. Allen Iverson and them, they go 56-26 that year. Allen Iverson is wreaking havoc. He's the league MVP. Him and Vince Carter go against each other in the second round, and they taking turns dropping 50 on one another. It was unreal. It was something to behold. It really, really was. And then in the conference finals, he went against Milwaukee. Glenn Big Dog Robinson, Ray
Big
Allen,
Dog.
Sam Cassell, the whole bit. George Karl was the coach, and so I watched him win that series. Both series went 7 games. And as the series progressed, the Philadelphia Inquirer, I'm the beat writer. I'm breaking all the stories. I'm doing all of this stuff. And they just shoved me aside. They brought in investigative reporters, feature writers, and all that stuff because they were trying to sell the newspapers. And I'm the guy on the beat. I'm the guy that knows the players. I'm the guy that knows the game.
But why did they do
because they're trying to sell more newspapers, and I was just covering the team. And so you wanted to write features, and you wanted to write profiles, and you wanted to do all of these things to sell the newspaper to advertisers and sponsors. So it was a money play, and I understood that. But it really crystallized in my mind. Money talks. The content, everybody knows I was the dude covering the Sixers. I was the dude that knew everything. You didn't care. You just wanted to sell newspapers. So then I saw, okay, wait a minute. There's more money in talk radio. There's more money in television.
Yeah.
You're making $75,000, $100,000 in the newspaper. On radio, you're making $300,000, $400,000. Television, you're making $1 million. Right. I'm like, I think I'm gonna go this way. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I started, seeing that the newspaper industry was dying to some degree, and that the radio industry was on the come up. Talk radio was on the come up. Television was on the come up. I knew that I knew how to talk. I knew how to write, and I knew that I knew sports. And the combination of it all put me in a real position, to make things happen for myself. And so next thing you know, I'm working for CNNSI, and then Fox Sports comes calling. And then after that, in 2003, ESPN came calling. And I'm a workaholic because my attitude is that who the hell am I, again, to call anybody else out about not working if I'm not putting in that work? So I made sure I was going to put in that work. So you saw me on television all the time. And I was on my grind, day, morning, noon, night. It didn't matter. Wherever the story was, I wanted to be there. Whatever story mattered, I wanted to be the face attached to that story. And that was how I went about it. And I've always been myself because that's what I trust myself to be. You can't sustain anything for a long period of time if it's fake, in my estimation.
Exactly.
The way to be yourself, the way to do things is to be your true, authentic self. And so that's what I brought to television. What I would do is, how would I talk if I was home? How would I talk if I was with my boys? How would I talk if I was in the backyard at the barbecue? How would I talk if I was at the barbershop with my crew? What would I do? How would I talk? I wouldn't be whispering. I wouldn't be sitting there like, basically what happened was, but no, I'm gonna get it in. I'm gonna speak with emotion. I'm gonna speak with passion and all of this stuff. And I brought that to television, and the public couldn't get enough of it. And so from that point forward, ESPN offered me my own show. The networks looked at me. You saw the ratings. You saw folks looking at me and saying, yo, this is that dude. And I just took it from there.
I think in your whole career, doing this, have you ever been a point that you've regretted things you said?
Yeah, I do. There's been. I remember me and Big Dog Glenn Robinson did not like each other at all.
Okay.
He came to Philadelphia, and when he came to Philadelphia, I knew that he had issues with a coach that was ultimately fired.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel that was fair. And I spoke out against him. He got in my face. I didn't back up. We in the locker room, stuff like that. Players having to, separate us, that kind of thing. And,
what'd you feel in the moment when he got in your face? What'd you feel in the moment?
I'm an old school kind of guy in this way. I would rather get my ass kicked than me running away from you like a punk. I'm not. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want Mike Tyson, somebody hitting me. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not getting.
Of course,
I'm not getting ridiculous. And I will run from a bullet in a heartbeat. No doubt about that. I can't fight bullets. But I'm one of those guys that I'm old school in this sense. I'm fearful most when I know I'm wrong. Because if I was wrong, then there's a level of boldness that's just stripped of you. When somebody comes at you and you know they right, that's why I don't hesitate to admit if I'm wrong. If I know I'm wrong,
that's good.
I don't hesitate to admit it. Because if I'm holding on to being wrong, that's just stupid pride. And I'm not going to do that. If you did somebody wrong and they're right and you're wrong, you got to own that. And I'm very, very big on that. But if I'm right and I know I was right and I know I was fair, and you try to punk me, I am not backing up. I'm just not doing it. And so I knew I was right in that particular situation. But then I took it too far because the world knew that there was animosity between us. And it got to a point where you had people inside the industry and outside the industry that knew something could potentially go down because neither one of us was going to back up. And, I just said to myself, wait a minute, I'm the professional. I know he's a professional ball player, but I'm in the media. This is ridiculous. It's going too far. And it's not like I think I can kick his ass. He's about 6'9", 240. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I like Steve, pump the brakes, control yourself. But I was just so fixated on knowing that I was right. I said, this is not right. And then what made it even worse is that years later, his son was in the league. Mm-hmm. And I saw his son.
But his son is a great, bro.
Yeah, great kid, great kid, like right? But he walked. It was Michael Howard. But he walked by me. He walked by me like he was not angry or disrespectful. Right. He just walked by me like he was fearful of saying something to me. And I was like, "That's ridiculous. That's my fault." And I remember after the game, we were in Houston, and I walked up to him and I said, "Whatever went on between me and your father, that's my fault." And I said, when I see him. And I haven't seen him since. I said, but when I see him, I'll apologize. I said, because I don't want you thinking that I would ever let any friction between he and I affect how I would cover you. You see what I'm saying? Yes. And so you start realizing that, wait a minute, when you sit in my chair and you have the kind of reach that I have with the public, I got a responsibility to be better. Yeah, and I thought I lost my way there. And then the other time was with Allen Iverson, because he and I didn't speak for a long time because he was upset at a story that I had written in 2010 when he was seen partying, at a tournament or whatever, the CIAA college basketball tournament, when he was supposed to be on leave of absence because he was supposed to be with his family and stuff like that. And I wrote the story about, can't be partying, blah, 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 thinking that I was looking out because there was so much more to tell that I would never tell. Yeah. And he was so angry. He wouldn't talk to me and I couldn't find him. And then I was hearing it was these threats him and his boys, they looking for you in Atlanta. And if you get to Atlanta, it's going to be a problem. When I heard that, I called some boys and I had them meet me in Atlanta and I went looking for them. Because I ain't running from no damn body. Hell no, I ain't doing anything. You must be out your damn mind. What's going on? And then finally we arranged it with his team, arranged for he and I to meet up. And we met up in Atlanta.
That's old school right there. That's
we met up in Atlanta. And it was like, he's got to deal with it old school. Yeah. It was like, I'm ESPN. I told ESPN, stand down, step back, you know, because obviously I make a lot of money for the network, so they want to protect their investment and they want to get involved. Like, nope, leave that alone. No police, no FBI, none of that. I'll deal with it. And I went down there and I met with him. And when I met with him, in about 5 to 10 minutes, I never felt smaller, because I said to him, I'm sitting there like I didn't do anything wrong. He said it had nothing to do with the story. It had everything to do with that your name was on the byline. You my man. It broke my heart.
Oh, no.
To see that it was you that wrote the story. So it wasn't even about what was said.
Yeah, because most of the players
it was that it was me. And at that moment, I realized how much love he had for me and what I meant to him and how close our relationship was all of those years. And I was busy doing my job that I didn't take the time to really, really embrace the fact that he looked at me like a big brother and he trusted me. And even though I never betrayed his trust or anything like that, because I never would, I didn't know that he felt that way, that me just being general saying, you got to get yourself together without, I reached out to him, I was looking for him, I couldn't find him and stuff like that. But I understood that it wasn't anger, it wasn't arrogance. That wasn't what it was about. He was hurt that he saw this byline and I had written that about him. And from that moment forward, I realized that we're brothers. I'm like a big brother to him, you know, and we have a different kind of relationship than I pretty much had with any other athlete. I mean, I've been tight with many athletes over the years. Kobe and Shaq and others stand out amongst them. But nobody is more synonymous with Stephen A. than Allen Iverson.